Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Operation Sindoor, a turning point in India's security doctrine. The participants are Anil Wadhwa, former ambassador, and Vaibhav J. Srivastav, anchor.
Operation Sindoor has been a phenomenal success. India was able to hit the targets of the terrorists, the terrorist infrastructure and the terrorist supporters in a very focused and a non-retaliatory manner. Now, India has to wage another war, and that is on the diplomatic front. India has to win the war and tell the entire world what the truth of Pakistan is and how they are not just an enemy of India, but also an enemy of entire humanity. To discuss much more on this extremely sensitive and serious topic, we have a very, very special guest with us. We have with us former Ambassador Shri Anil Wadhwaji. Wadhwaji, welcome to the studios of Akashvani.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Sir, an honor and a pleasure to have you here. First, let's listen to the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji on the Triveni or the tripod of India's action or the future policy that India is to follow.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कोई सामान्य सैन्य अभियान नहीं है। ये भारत की नीति, नियत और निर्णायक क्षमता की त्रिवेणी है।
Sir, your views on the statement given by the Honorable Prime Minister.
So, of course, as we know, on April 22, terror had struck Pahalgam and Pakistan-backed attackers stormed a village. They asked people their religion and killed them, which resulted in 26 deaths. And it was a clear attempt to incite communal violence, which actually marked a shift from cross-border attacks to dividing India from within. And in response, India launched the Operation Sindoor to destroy the terror bases behind the attack. Of course, India has clarified its response as very focused, measured, and non-escalatory. And it has been specifically mentioned that Pakistani military establishments had not been targeted. It was also reiterated that any attack on military targets in India will invite a suitable response. But throughout these developments, the Prime Minister Modi has stayed focused on delivering a firm and clear response. His consistent efforts against terrorism, viewed as a global threat, helped India garner widespread international support, and under his leadership, India firmly established a principle that terrorism and its sponsors will be treated alike. So he took a measured yet a very powerful response, and he ensured that no harm was inflicted upon Pakistani civilians, despite repeated provocations from Pakistan. And India's military actions were limited to terror camps and specific military facilities aiding terrorism. So this careful targeting showed both India's capability and its commitment to responsible warfare. And Prime Minister's decision to suspend the Indus Water Treaty was also a very historic move, not only harming Pakistan's interests but also benefiting India. He has established a new national security doctrine. Any future terror attack will be treated as an act of war. And this eliminated the false distinction which has been there between terrorists and their state sponsors.
So the facade that Pakistan puts up in front of the whole wide world, the web of lies has been exposed. Its continuous efforts of inciting communal violence has failed. And also, India has been able to show the world that it means what it says it does. Walk the talk when it says that terror and talk and terror and trade cannot go together. Now let's hear the words of the Honourable Home Minister of India, Shri Amit Shah ji's words on the etymology of Operation Sindoor and its meaning.
सिंदूर का सम्मान ये भारत का संस्कार है। इस दुनिया के सभी लोगों को एक साथ समाचार देने का काम ऑपरेशन का नाम सिंदूर रखने से ही हो गया। और वो सभी परिवारों को जो उनकी नुकसान हुआ उसकी तो भरपाई नहीं हो सकती, परंतु मोदी जी ने जो बिहार में वादा किया था हम इसका बदला जरूर लेंगे, आतंकवादियों को मिट्टी में मिला देंगे, वो वादा उन्होंने जरूर पूरा कर दिया।
When the Honourable Home Minister says that we will destroy terror camps, terror ideologies and those supporting terror, it shows India's unwavering pledge for justice. And in the words of the Honourable Prime Minister, as he said that the link of terrorists to Pakistan has been exposed time and again. Sir, your views?
So, a moment of national crisis such as this demanded not just resolve but remarkable leadership. And the Home Minister is correct in pointing out that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has risen to this challenge. His decisive role in Operation Sindoor marked one of India's boldest military responses in recent history. And if you recall, despite being overseas on a pre-scheduled diplomatic visit, the Prime Minister swiftly assumed command, orchestrating a response that balanced strategic restraint with assertive action. And he displayed remarkable restraint under immense pressure to react quickly, ensuring that every step from suspending the Indus Water Treaty to military action was well planned and precisely timed. In fact, the Prime Minister has made it clear that Operation Sindoor is not just a name, but is a reflection of the feelings of millions of people in the country and an unbroken pledge of justice, because he said that we remain committed to taking strong steps to safeguard India and its people. And on the battlefield, we've always defeated Pakistan, and this time Operation Sindoor has added a new dimension. Now, how has it added a new dimension? First of all, the Prime Minister said that if there is ever a terror attack on India, a fitting reply will be given. And second, he said that India will not tolerate any nuclear blackmail. India will strike precisely and decisively at the terrorist hideouts developing under the cover of nuclear blackmail.
Absolutely.
Third, he said we will not differentiate between the government sponsoring terrorism and the masterminds of terrorism. So we will continue to take decisive steps to protect India and our citizens from any threat. Fourth is India's stand is very clear now. Terror and talk can't go together. Terror and trade cannot go together. And water and blood cannot flow together. So he also finally said if there are talks with Pakistan, it will be only on terrorism. If there are talks with Pakistan, it will be only on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
Absolutely. Sir, now let's hear the words of the Honourable Defence Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh, where he's talking not just as the country's Honourable Defence Minister, but also as a citizen.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के कुशल नेतृत्व और मार्गदर्शन में ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान आपने जो कुछ भी किया है उस पर पूरे देश को गर्व की अनुभूति हो रही है। मैं अभी भले ही आपका रक्षा मंत्री हूं, लेकिन उससे पहले मैं भारत का एक नागरिक हूं। रक्षा मंत्री के साथ साथ मैं आज भारत के नागरिक के रूप में भी आप सबके प्रति आभार व्यक्त करने के लिए यहाँ मौजूद हूं।
Sir, your views.
So, as the Defence Minister pointed out, the citizens of India feel proud of the response that India has given in response to the Pahalgam terror attack. And Operation Sindoor in particular will go down in history as a landmark in India's response and its multi-layered strategy towards its response on terror in general. In fact, India's response to the Pahalgam attack stood firmly on legal and moral grounds. And as I said, it is a principled and calibrated retaliation shaped by our leadership, ethics, and strategic precision. In fact, the Operation Sindoor has reshaped both the geopolitical and strategic landscape here in South Asia because it's not just a military campaign, but a multi-dimensional assertion of our sovereignty, our resolve, and global standing. Because we had a decisive leadership, India demonstrated a new paradigm, one that blends restraint with strength and precision with a purpose. And by targeting terror networks and their state sponsors with, I would say, unprecedented clarity, India has sent an unambiguous message. Terrorism will be met with a swift and proportionate response, irrespective of borders or diplomatic complexities.
Sir, as the leader of Global South, as an emerging leader in Southeast Asia, as one of the leading economies of the world, how important it is for India to win the diplomatic war, to make sure, I won't say tell because the world already knows what Pakistan is and how it is the hub of terrorism, but to remind them once again, and this time with the high resolution pictures and videos, that what it has done, what it is doing, how important it is to win this information war.
So I think it is very important in these days of media warfare to be able to project the correct picture about what India has done. And I think after Operation Sindoor was launched, the Indian establishment has in fact done a lot to project the correct image and put the correct facts on the ground in front of the world and our own population. So, for example, because the operation was a significant demonstration of India's military and strategic power, and executed through a combination of military and non-military means. All that required a very structured and coordinated response, which India did through putting forward its foreign secretary and two members of our armed forces on a regular basis before the outside world. But today we have a new narrative which prevails in the world. And for that, we need to put our narrative also to the outside world. And that is why, India is now reaching out to its ministers, its members of parliament to go abroad and to put forward its viewpoint in order to counter the multiple lies and the distortion of facts that Pakistan has put together. In fact, many countries and news agencies have seen through this already. They have analyzed what Pakistan has put out, but it's very important that this narrative is exchanged with counterparts, members of parliament from other countries. And there are 30 odd countries that India has chosen for this purpose. So 7 teams from India are going out, focused on the fact that they have to counter this false narrative of Pakistan and also to present the correct picture about what really has happened and what Operation Sindoor is all about. So I'm glad that India has taken this step, and I'm sure this will stand as a very good step going forward.
So a decisive statement from the Ministry of External Affairs also said that India has time and again clarified, and it is doing so once again, that it will not accept any interference from any third parties. And this time too, India has said that it will talk to Pakistan straight and only on terrorism and be okay. How important is this statement, and how important is the fact that Make in India success has made India even stronger and more self-reliant?
So, as India has shown to the outside world, there was a lot of precision in the response of India. India's multi-layered air defense, including the indigenous Akash Tir system, shot down hundreds of drones and missiles. And this also showcased India's growing capabilities in exporting advanced defense systems. Indian Air Force bypassed and jammed Pakistan's Chinese supplied air defense systems, completing the mission in just 23 minutes using Rafale jets, the Scalp missiles, and Hammer bombs, which demonstrates India's technological edge. And of course, India also avoided civilian or non-terror military targets, showcasing its zero tolerance for terror while containing the situation from escalating into full-scale war. Most importantly, we were able to eliminate high-value targets, including Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf, Mudassir Ahmed. These individuals were linked to the IC-814 hijack and the Pulwama blast. And on the night of May 9 to 10, India became the first country to strike 11 air bases of a nuclear-armed nation in a single operation, destroying 20% of Pakistan's Air Force assets. Also, the Indian Air Force inflicted high casualties on Bulari Air Base, including the death of squadron leader Usman Yusuf and destruction of key fighter jets. Most importantly, we've shown that the Indian Army, Navy, and Air Force worked in full coordination, demonstrating India's growing joint military prowess. So I think all in all, the message has gone out to the outside world that India remains a strong nation, that it has undertaken an excellent program of Make in India as far as the military equipment and whatever infrastructure is required is concerned, and is currently on the right path of future development. And this will be very important going forward in inviting investors into India in this field.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such valuable insights and giving us your time. Thank you so much once again for talking with us.
My great pleasure.
You were listening to a discussion on Operation Sindoor, a turning point in India's security doctrine. The participants were Anil Wadhwa, former ambassador, and Vaibhav J. Srivastav, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.
Spotlight.